He is the last human alive on Earth. Every day feels like a repetition, as if time itself has abandoned him. All resources are his for the taking, with no one left to restrict him. His bedroom is set up right in the middle of the street with no care in the world. He uses a 1,000-year-old antique as a night pot. Absurd, yet extravagant. There's no one to judge, so he sees no reason to wear clothes. He wakes up promptly at 6 a.m., finding whatever he can at home to eat. He feeds his free-range chickens some oatmeal. A treat for them. A few fresh strawberries make a perfect afternoon snack. He uses a fire truck to water his corn. The generator gets filled with gasoline, powering his makeshift home. He turns on the radio, switching through channels as usual. As always, no one responds, just like every day for the past 3 years. After finishing all his chores, he heads to the largest football field for a World Cup final against a model. He dribbles the ball, takes a shot, and scores with the ball flying into the net. He raises his arms and shouts, "If the national team had me, they'd have qualified by now." Despite finishing everything on his to-do list, only 2 hours have passed. With nothing else to do, he sits with the model and wastes time. They binge-watch Hollywood and international films to kill the boredom. Finally, the night falls. The most exciting part of the day is about to begin. He stretches, yawning, and strolls into the underground parking. Today, he chooses a Lamborghini for a thrilling ride. He speeds down the highway, feeling the rush of adrenaline and freedom. The man stands up, roaring into the night, letting his loneliness pour out. Suddenly, he stops, horrified, as he notices a figure ahead of him. He jerks the steering wheel to the side in a panic. The car screeches to a halt just in time, but not without slamming into the guardrail. He didn't even care about the cuts on his face. Instead, he grabbed a flashlight and shone it ahead. His heart was racing, equal parts fear and hope. There, in the beam of light, stood a little girl holding a sheep. When she saw another living person, she got even more emotional than he did. She burst into tears, sobbing uncontrollably. Then she threw herself into his arms, clinging tightly, feeling the warmth of her embrace. He finally dared to believe. He wasn't alone after all. He brought her back to his shelter and offered her all kinds of food. The girl devoured it hungrily, as if she hadn't had a proper meal in ages. Once she was full, she told him there were still many survivors out there. He turned on the satellite radio and, for the first time in years, received a clear signal. North America had already restored social order. They had set up offices in 26 cities around the globe to aid in reconstruction and gather survivors. Whether one wished to relocate to North America or rebuild their home locally, the United Coalition promised support. The man was so shocked, it felt like 1,000,000 alpacas were stampeding through his mind. Then excitement hit him like a bolt of lightning. There were still people. After wandering through ruins for 3 whole years without seeing a soul, he had accepted loneliness as his fate. But now, there was hope. That very night, the two of them agreed to head for Beiping, the nearest city with a coalition outpost. The next morning, they packed supplies and prepped for the journey. Then, behind the wheel of a rugged G-Wagon, along the way, they occasionally passed human skeletons, stark reminders of the world's collapse. During a break, he taught the girl how to drive. They came across an abandoned countryside orchard. The girl hopped out to explore and discovered plenty of watermelons and grapes still growing. He tossed her an empty crate and said, "Pick some fruit. I'll be back in a bit." But before he got far, she came chasing after him, panic written all over her face. When she found out he was going to scavenge for supplies, she insisted on coming along. With a sigh, he handed her another crate. "We gotta split up. If we don't, we won't reach Beiping tomorrow. Just grab more fruit. I'll be back soon. I don't want grapes anymore. Just don't leave me," she cried, her voice trembling and her expression heartbreaking. He froze for a second, then gently touched her cheek and said softly, "You might not want grapes, but now I do." With a determined look in his eyes, he said to her, "Wait for me here. I promise, I'll never leave you. We're family now." With that, he drove off, leaving the girl and her little lamb standing there. watching him disappear into the distance. He soon found an abandoned telecom company nearby. He salvaged a batch of phones and other communication gear. Xiaoyi set them up, trying out different social apps. Eventually, she connected to a foreign platform. And to their shock, there were tons of users from their own homeland. The discovery lit them up with excitement, like hope had been reignited. They stepped on the gas, speeding toward their destination, fighting. But once the thrill subsided, the man's instincts kicked in. Something felt off. He had traveled through countless ghost towns over the past 3 years, never seeing a single soul. So how did all these people suddenly appear? Before he could piece it together, Xiaoyi shared something even more. According to the latest update from the North American Union, not a single surviving male has been found in any of the global outposts. The man was stunned by the announcement, but a second later, he burst into manic laughter. No more men in the world? That means I'm the last one standing. I'm every woman's dream guy now. This is insane. Feels like I could laugh myself awake from a dream. He no longer rushed the journey. Instead, he made a detour to a deserted hot spring resort. Without hesitation, he drove the G-Wagon straight through the entrance and parked at the main hall. Xiaoyi looked puzzled. Are we going to Biding today? He grinned. Not today. You're getting a hot spring bath and a new outfit. Tomorrow, you'll show up at Biding looking fabulous. Xiaoyi lit up with joy, excited at the thought of some relaxation. But her excitement quickly faded. It turned out to be nothing more than a heated pool powered by immersion rods. Then again, in times like these, even a warm bath felt like a luxury most could only dream of. Once the water was warm, the man got up to find some clean clothes for Xiaoyi. As soon as he walked out of the door, he suddenly thought of a key question. He rushed back and yelled, "Unplug the heater before you get in. It's dangerous." Before he could even finish, Xiaoyi let out a high-pitched scream from the bath. Turns out, she had just undressed completely. And now, the world's last man had seen everything. Mortified, he spun around and bolted out of the room. The next day, as they neared the first gathering point in Biding, Xiaoyi suddenly spotted something in the fields. Figures moving like they were farming. She excitedly rolled down the window and waved, calling out to them. But as they got closer, the man's expression changed drastically. Those women weren't farming. They were slitting another woman's throat. He immediately realized something was wrong and yelled at Xiaoyi. "Speed up! Get out of here!" The women simply stared coldly as the car sped away, their faces expressionless. Blood still dripped from the tips of their knives, painting a chilling picture. As they approached the city of Biding, they saw something even more horrifying. Bodies of women hanging from the overpass. The man's expression hardened. He looked at Xiaoyi and said, "Biding might not be the safe haven we thought it was." As they entered the city, entering the broadcast-designated gathering point, they encountered a roadblock. A group of armed women stood guard, eyes full of suspicion. The leader of the group quickly spotted the man inside the vehicle. In a world where no other living man had been found, his presence instantly raised alarms. Weapons were raised. "Step out of the vehicle." Now the man gripped a wrench from the car, ready to fight for his life. Just then, a voice rang out from the side. "Nana, they're with us." A girl with twin braids came running over quickly. She spoke up right away. "She's new. Has no clue how things work yet. Don't mind her. She used to be a swimmer in sports school. Got so many hormone shots her Adam's apple almost popped," she joked. As she talked, she pulled out a few pieces of chocolate from her bag and handed them to Nana. Chocolate was a rare luxury in times like these, and the moment Nana got her hands on it, she waved them through without another word. Back in the car, Xiaoyi thanked the braided girl sincerely. "Thank you for saving us." The man leaned forward. "Who were those people?" he asked. The girl replied casually, "That's the Dongbei army. Inside the second ring, no civilians allowed in, especially not fake men like you." Xiaoyi quickly blurted out, "He's not a fake man." She was cut off by the man who calmly interjected, "Do you know where the survivors' outpost is now?" The girl shrugged. "They got kicked out of the second ring, but I can take you there." But then the braided girl made a demand. She wanted the little lamb. "Or hey, I'll take that handgun of yours instead." As she spoke, she pressed the gun barrel right against the man's forehead. But he didn't flinch. The lamb's been with Xiao Yi from the start. She'd never give it up. The girl stared at him for a moment, then suddenly backed off with a shrug. Fine, fine. I'll take you to the outpost. As they neared the location, she casually mentioned, I'll get off here. The foreigners running the place, they're not exactly fans of mine. But just as she was stepping out of the car, she had the lamb in her arms. The man swiftly grabbed her wrist, stopping her. His eyes were calm, yet unyielding, staring straight into hers. She hesitated, then let out a sigh and loosened her grip on the lamb. Just before parting, the braided girl tilted her head and smirked. Gotta admit, you've actually got some real manly charm. After the man and Xiao Yi drove off, she stood there watching them disappear, a sly, knowing smile curling at her lips. The two soon arrived at the nearby survivor outpost, but no sooner had they stepped in than a swarm of women rushed toward them, surrounding the man in a frenzy. Some were so excited they started snapping photos like fans at a celebrity sighting. The man snapped out of it and snatched her phone, eyes narrowing as he read the screen. She had already posted his photo on the Survivor network, the only social platform left. Within minutes, comments poured in, realizing he was in trouble. The man turned to leave, but the woman who uploaded the photo grabbed his arm and refused to let go. You're not going anywhere. To his shock, the woman's grip was insanely strong. He struggled with all his might, but couldn't break free. Just then, several vehicles came barreling toward them, kicking up clouds of dust. Standing atop one of the cars was a sultry woman who lazily called out, "Where's my new man?" Right beside her, Xiao Braid, the very same girl who had helped them earlier. The woman was none other than Kim Mina, the commander of the Dongbei army. No doubt it was Braid who brought her here. Kim Mina smirked. It's been too long since I had a workout. Tonight, he is mine. A blonde woman quickly stepped forward to intervene, but the moment she opened her mouth, Kim Mina shot her. No hesitation, no mercy. Watching the blonde collapse in a pool of blood, the man's fury erupted. He lunged at Kim Mina with a roar, tried to wrestle the gun from her hands. Caught off guard, Kim Mina was momentarily overpowered. But in the blink of an eye, she twisted her body. The man was thrown to the ground. Just as Kim Mina was about to assert her dominance, the man suddenly flipped up with a swift kip-up, locking her head in a tight hold. The two began grappling in a tangled mess, spinning around in what looked like a chaotic, comedic dance-off. Seizing the moment, the man locked her into a tight armbar, a submission hold with no easy escape. As he applied pressure, Kim Mina's eyes rolled back, showing signs of strain. Her guards panicked, sensing their leader might actually lose. But just as they were about to intervene, Kim Mina flashed a wicked, confident grin. With one hand, she pried open his grip, like it was nothing, and she hurled him onto the ground without breaking a sweat. She slapped him without hesitation and sneered, "If you weren't the last man alive, I wouldn't even bother with you." Humiliated, the man's temper exploded. He swung his left fist at her with all his might. She effortlessly caught it with just 3 fingers. He lashed out with his right. But again, with the same 3 fingers, she trapped both his hands like a steel vice. A terrifying thought crept into his mind. Had the apocalypse mutated the women too? Was he now the weakest species alive? Desperate, he kicked wildly at Kim Mina's legs, but she didn't even flinch. Instead, she looked down at him with a mocking smirk. Then suddenly, a massive shadow loomed over her. A fierce black woman roared in on a bulldozer, slamming it down between Kim Mina and the man, saving him in a nick of time. That woman was an absolute legend as she held Kim Mina back. The man jumped into the car, frantically starting the engine. But just as he was about to drive off, he spotted Xiao Yi hide. For a moment, he hesitated. But in the end, he couldn't leave her behind. Braving the chaos and bullets, he ran out and dragged her toward the car. That same woman who had leaked his location suddenly jumped out again, blocking their path. Rage erupted inside him. This was all her. Without hesitation, he swung his wrench hard. "Out of my way, damn it!" Kim Mina saw him escape and immediately shouted, After him, don't let him get away. But before her crew could get far, the bulldozer rammed through the car roof like it was paper. Enraged, Kim Mina leapt onto the bulldozer, gun in hand, and screamed, "Die, you traitor!" But when Kim Mina saw the calm, unreadable look in the black woman's eyes, she instantly knew something was wrong. Sure enough, she turned her head just in time to see the excavator swinging a whole car straight at her. Boom! The vehicle slammed down with pinpoint accuracy, crushing into the excavator with a thunderous crash. Meanwhile, the man and Xiao Yi jumped into the car, scrambling to escape. Xiao Yi reached out to slam the door shut, but a hand suddenly grabbed the door from outside. Then a familiar face popped up. It was Braids, grinning like always. "Hey, backslash!" The man's eyes widened. Without a word, he floored the gas pedal, launching the car forward. But Braids held on tight, refusing to let go of the door as the vehicle sped ahead. "Where are you going?" "Take me with you," she shouted. "I'm a good guy, I swear," Xiao Yi snapped. "You're the one who told the Dongbei army where we were." Braids didn't even flinch. Grinning shamelessly, she said, "Come on, don't be mad. I'll take you both south. I've got tons of supplies stashed down there. We could live the dream. Just the three of us. Me, you, and him. One man, two wives. Cozy, right?" Xiao Yi was stunned into silence, eyes wide in disbelief. The man roared, "Dream on," and jerked the steering wheel to throw her off. Xiao Yi kicked hard at Braids' hand, gripping the door. Braids finally lost her grip and began to fall. But at the last second, she latched onto the lamb's leg. The lamb started choking, frothing at the mouth as its legs kicked in panic. Xiao Yi was in tears, unable to bear letting it go. The man shouted, "Let go! It's gonna die!" At last, Xiao Yi screamed through her sobs and let go. Finally, she threw her braids down, a woman as annoying as a pendant. Xiao Yi collapsed in her seat, covering her face and crying loudly. But their relief was short-lived. In the rearview mirror, the man spotted two cars tailing them and closing fast. His face dropped. Oh, hell no. It was the Dongbei army, one of the biggest factions left in the world, and they had found them again. From the lead car, Kim Mina looked downright thrilled. She hadn't been this excited in years. "I want that man," she declared with zero shame. "Come back with me. Be my warlord husband. Together we'll rule this dump." The man simply stared ahead, expression cold. "You're not my type." Kim Mina's smile twisted into a snarl. "Then make me your type." She shouted to her soldiers, "Pull up. Don't let him run." The man didn't hesitate. He veered hard and slammed his car into Mina's red sport. Damn. The impact sent her tumbling into her seat. Then the man pulled a sudden brake. As one of the chase cars zoomed past, he rammed it in the rear wheel. The enemy vehicle lost control instantly, flipping over and flying off the road. Just as he caught his breath, he looked up. Kim Mina was in midair, leaping straight at his car like some kind of apocalypse-grade supervillain. The man screamed, "What the hell is wrong with you? Are you insane?" But Kim Mina landed steadily right outside his window, perfectly balanced. She gave him a calm, dangerous smirk. Then, in one swift motion, she raised, smashed. Her arm punched straight through the glass. And with a grunt, she ripped a window clean off and hurled. Before she could make her next move, a deafening roar of engines erupted behind them. A gang of riders on customized motorcycles surged toward them like a post-apocalyptic cavalry charge. Kim Mina narrowed her eyes. Her expression hardened. "The Brotherhood?" she muttered. Leading the pack, a buzzcut woman yelled, "Kim Mina, we're here to settle some unfinished business about men." Kim Mina scoffed. "Bye, gang. I've been hunting you for months, and now you show up on a silver platter?" She sneered. "A bunch of tough-talking broads. What, you think you're men now?" Before she could finish, Braids whipped out a submachine gun and let it rip. Rat-tat, several motorcycles exploded into flames. But the Brotherhood wasn't backing down. One helmeted rider pulled out a fire extinguisher and unloaded a blinding stream of foam into Braid's car window. Another rider with spiky hair lit a chain of fireworks and hurled it straight into Braid's car. Firecrackers exploded between Braid's legs in a frenzy of bangs and flashes. She panicked, flailing helplessly. Her sports car swerved out of control. In the next moment, it launched over the guardrail and disappeared into the ravine. Back into chaos, Kim Min-ah sprang like a wildcat onto the roof of the man's speeding car. She pointed at Bai Gang and shouted, "Come on in, fake man. Show me what you've got." Without hesitation, Bai Gang's crew fired grappling hooks, one of which latched onto the man's car door with a loud clang. The man stared in disbelief. What the hell is happening? Bai Gang hoisted a battle axe and rode the grappling line like a zip line, landing hard on the back of the vehicle, advancing toward the roof. The man broke into a sweat and reached for the wheel to swerve. But Bai Gang calmly, "I'm on your side." Then, with a powerful leap, she swung her axe toward Kim Min-ah. The two queens of chaos clashed atop the moving car, Kim Min-ah narrowly dodging each blow. Her ferocity undiminished. Kim Min-ah drew her handgun mid-fight and started firing back at Bai Gang. But to her surprise, Bai Gang's reflexes were unreal. She dodged the bullets while balanced on a moving car. The two continued their rooftop duel, one dodging an axe, the other dodging gunfire. A chaotic ballet of carnage with no clear winner. Down below, the man saw an opening when Min-ah raised her leg for a kick. He slammed the brakes. Min-ah lost her balance and tumbled forward onto the hood, her pistol flying from her hand. "You damn man," she yelled. "I'll deal with you tonight." With a snarl, she leapt back onto the roof, springing into the fight again. This time, she pressed the attack, pushing Bai Gang back and gaining the upper hand. But the man wasn't done. He kept tapping the brakes, causing Min-ah to stagger, wobbling with each jolt. Enraged, Min-ah, she kicked the sunroof open and drove her high heels straight into the man's nose. At that exact moment, Bai Gang seized the chance. Her axe came crashing down toward Min-ah's back. A sickening thud followed by Min-ah's muffled scream echoed through the air. But in a twist no one expected, she narrowly avoided the strike, slipping away at the last second like a ghost. She stared at the massive tear in her luxurious fur coat, eyes burning with rage. "You ruined my fur coat, you bastard!" Without hesitation, she kicked Bai Gang off the rooftop. Bai Gang tumbled down but managed to catch the edge of the car window just in time. Kim Min-ah raised her axe, ready to strike, but the man suddenly slammed on the brakes. Min-ah lost her footing and staggered backward. Bai Gang seized the chance, yanked on her leg hard. The man, nose still bleeding from earlier, yanked the wheel with everything he had. Kim Min-ah flew off the roof, crashing onto the road. For the first time, the fierce warlord looked truly desperate. She cried out, "Babe," for a split second. Even that wild scene stirred a hint of pity. The man didn't say a word, just stared at her sprawled figure in silence as blood trickled from his nose. But then Min-ah twisted her body, grabbed the grappling hook line still attached to the car, and kicked off the man's face for leverage, flipping back onto the roof with terrifying precision. The man's face went pale. She was back. He quickly grabbed the grappling hook launcher from the passenger seat. After reloading it, he leaned out through the sunroof, aiming right between Min-ah's legs. Without hesitation, he pulled the trigger. Kim Min-ah heard the snap and twisted her body in a flash. The hook narrowly missed, tearing clean through the hole in her already ruined fur coat. The hook shot forward and latched onto a traffic sign up ahead. As the car sped forward, the launcher yanked out of the man's hands, dragging Min-ah right into the air, leaving her dangling from the sign like a trophy. The man finally exhaled. He thought they were in the until he saw her drop the coat and land barefoot on the road. She ditched her heels, crouched into a runner's stance, and then launched like a missile. "She's running barefoot and still catching up?" the man yelled. In a panic, he opened the trunk and hurled everything out. Bags, tools, whatever he could find. But nothing slowed her down. Min-ah was relentless. Bai Gang tightened her grip on the axe, ready for round two. Min-ah was now so close, they could hear her feral breathing just outside the window. Kim Min-ah's brows furrowed and her face flushed bright red. The man yelled in panic, Oh crap, she's about to transform or something. Just then, Manhwa broke out into a cold sweat, gasping heavily as her body trembled. Then, gradually began to finally she dropped to her knees, unleashing a roar of frustration and rage. They had finally shaken her off for now. The group kept moving, putting more distance between them and the chaos. Once they were a safe distance away, Baigang calmly leapt down from the roof. She and her squad began walking over. The man threw up a hand to stop them, eyes wary. Who the hell are you people? Baigang stood tall and said, We're the Brotherhood, Northern Resistance. Just like you real men. The man snapped. Bullshit. You're a spiky-haired member cut in, offended. We're men of this new era. Just like you. Flesh and blood. Real. The man didn't argue. He just asked, Can I go now? Baigang stepped closer. Stay. Fight with us. Stand for men's rights. The man rubbed his temples. I don't want to fight. I just want a place to breathe. My brain's about to explode. Baigang's voice grew serious. This world belongs to women now. It's not safe for men. We resist, and we need you. You're our symbol. Our hope. The man looked at the eager faces around him, so desperate, so sincere. And finally he asked the one question weighing on his heart. If I say no, will you still let me leave? Hearing his question, Baigang slowly stepped forward. The man tightened his grip on the gear shift, eyes locked, ready to bolt at any second. But instead of attacking, Baigang removed a necklace from around her neck and held it out. Wherever you go, show this, and our allies will help you. The man accepted it with a conflicted but grateful heart. Then, shamelessly, he asked for weapons, gas, and a bunch of survival supplies. The Brotherhood women didn't even blink, handing them over with pride. The man, moved by their generosity, bumped fists with Baigang and said, Appreciate it, bro. He turned to the rest, raised a fist, and shouted, Thank you, brothers. Men live on. Fight for manhood. Before the echo faded, his car had already roared off into the horizon, leaving the Brotherhood crew frozen in place, completely dumbfounded. Moments later, the Brotherhood erupted in cheers. We are men. Men never die. We fight for manhood. In the car, Xiaoyi watched the celebration and said softly, They really admire you. The man rolled his eyes and scoffed. They're nuts. All of them. Who would have thought? This overly made-up sarcastic guy was actually the last man on Earth. After parting ways with the Brotherhood, he and Xiaoyi headed north. As they approached Jianjiang Bridge, they noticed a roadblock, but not a single soul in sight. The man stepped out, intending to clear the debris. But suddenly, a group of women dropped down from the bridge above, ambushing him. Panicked, he turned and bolted, yelling, Xiaoyi, start the damn car. But before he could even reach the door, more vehicles roared in behind them, cutting off every escape route. The man pulled out his weapon and yelled, Bring it on. Let's do this. A second later, he was tackled to the ground. Both he and Xiaoyi were forced to kneel, hands bound. The leader, a girl with twin ponytails, stepped forward and demanded to know where they were from. The two blurted out different answers on the spot. That was enough. Accused of being spies, they were about to be thrown off the bridge. In desperation, Xiaoyi suddenly shouted in her hometown dialect, swearing they weren't spies. The twin-tailed commander frowned, sensing something off, and ordered her team to stop. Take them back first, she said. The man looked utterly defeated as he slumped into their vehicle. They were taken to a massive estate with a grand entrance, boldly marked Jia. As they passed through the courtyard, the man stared in disbelief. Every woman was wearing traditional Han clothing. It felt more like a time travel drama than a post-apocalyptic base. Every movement from these women was elegant and refined. And the man clearly had a weakness for this kind of vibe. Even while being detained, he couldn't help sneaking a few extra glances. Eventually, they arrived at a charming pavilion, where laughter from several women drifted through the air. On the ground, a few panda cubs lazed about, rolling and tumbling. It was a surreal scene of peace in the middle of a broken world. The twin-tailed girl gave the man a shove. There's something odd about these two, she said. Seated inside the pavilion was a woman in the central spot, clearly the one in charge. Her name was Chin Yin. She stared at the man for a long time, saying nothing. The man began to squirm. The longer he looked at her, the more uneasy he felt. She looked eerily like Kim Min-ah. Were they sisters? If so, he might have just escaped one nightmare and walked straight into another. After a long silence, Chin Yin finally spoke. "You're the man!" The other women gasped, all turning to stare. But the man stayed calm, replying coolly. "What gave me?" Chin Yin stood up, her smile subtle. "It's the scent. You smell like a man. Come sit. No need to be nervous. I'll treat you like anyone else. No more, no less." With no better options, the man gave in, bringing Xiao Yi into the pavilion with him. The moment he sat down, the other women swarmed around, shoving pastries into his mouth like he was royalty. Meanwhile, the twin-tailed girl leaned against a pillar, staring at him with a calculating look in her eyes. With his mouth stuffed full, "You say I'm just an ordinary guest. Then do you dare let me leave?" Chin Yin responded calmly. "Why would I stop you? If you wish to go, then go." Her words made both the man and the twin-tailed girl freeze in place. He quickly recovered and narrowed his eyes. "You serious?" Chin Yin gave a sly smile. "Of course I'm serious. But there's a condition. You'll have to beat me in a round of a poetic duel based on a single chosen word. Both sides must take turns reciting lines of verse containing it. The first to falter loses. Today's chosen word, heart." A woman in green gracefully stepped up, brushed her sleeve across the man's cheek, and softly recited, "To win one true heart and grow old, never part." The man replied without flinching. Wounded hearts walk Chin Han lands. Palaces turned to dust and sand. A woman in yellow followed, gently resting a hand on his shoulder. "There's wood on the mountain, a branch on the tree. My heart longs for you, but you don't see." Xiao Yi, furious at the flirtation, snapped, "My heart's unlike theirs. I'd rather be young than divine." Then came a woman in purple, slinking up from behind with a sultry sway. "No bees, no butterflies. My red robe's gone, my heart worn thin." The man didn't even glance at her, calmly reciting, "My heart like dead wood, my body a boat adrift." The purple-robed woman pouted, turning to Chin Yin with mock frustration. "You see, I offer my heart to the moon, and it just lit up the gutter instead." The man calmly picked up a pastry, took a bite, and said firmly, "Though old and worn, the steed still dreams of galloping 1,000 miles. Even in twilight, the hero's heart burns bright." Chin Yin had been observing him the whole time. Hearing those words, she realized this man wasn't one to be toyed with. Her view of him shifted, just as the woman in green was about to recite again. Chin Yin raised her hand. "Enough. Stop teasing him. You all act coy and seductive, but in his eyes you're just demons clawing for his flesh." The girls pouted. "Oof. What a boring might as well be a clueless monk." Chin Yin turned to the man and said gently, "I understand your heart now. Go ahead, eat. When you're done, I'll show you out." But before the man could respond, Hong Yin suddenly stepped forward, her voice urgent. "Chin Yin, he can't leave." Chin Yin calmly poured her tea, her tone unhurried. "He's a grown man. If he wants to leave, who are we to stop? Unless you have a Hong Yin didn't hesitate. "Because I want to sleep with him." Gasps echoed across the pavilion. And then she added, even louder, "I want to have his babies." Hong Yin wasn't done. "With this man, we finally have leverage for the northern campaign. The Lingnan faction will join us. The northeastern army will fracture. We could unify the entire land. He's our trump card." Chin Yin, halfway down the path, paused. Her tone was cool. "That's not how I see it." She turned back, her expression calm but firm. "Hong Yin, walking into the estate, dressed like that. Have you forgotten our code?" Hong Yin froze. It was true. She hadn't followed the traditional dress code of the manor, but she quickly snapped back, pointing at the man with fiery conviction. "I don't care. I will sleep with you." With that, She spun around and stormed out of Jiangyan Manor with her entourage in tow. Even Qin Yin, usually poised and collected, looked momentarily uncertain. She finally addressed the man. "Inside this estate, you're safe. Outside, it's up to you to earn your freedom. The choice is." The man let out a long, exhausted sigh. Why can't my life ever be normal for 5 minutes? In the end, he decided to stay in the manor, at least for a few days of peace. The next morning, he was in the pavilion doing curls with a stone bench when Xiao Yi came skipping over, beaming. "Look, do you like my new outfit?" Xiao Yi had changed into a flowing hanfu, her hair tied up in a cute bun. She looked more playful and charming than ever. The man grinned and motioned for her sit. "Come on, let's arm wrestle. And don't hold back. I want full baby bottle strength." Xiao Yi tried her best, but still lost without much resistance. Rubbing her sore wrist, she pouted. "You can't beat anyone else, so you're just bullying me to feel strong." The man quickly apologized, gently massaging her wrist. He muttered himself, still puzzled. "Why is everyone I run into lately, white gang, Hong, they all fight like they're built different?" At that moment, Qin Yin walked over, curious. "What are you two doing?" The man looked up with a grin. "Arm wrestling. Want to give a shot?" Qin Yin shook her head at first. "That's not really my kind of game." But after some relentless coaxing, she gave in with a sigh and sat down. A moment later, whether she let him win or not, she smiled and said, "Well, look, men are still stronger after all." The man stared down at his hand, disappointed. This wasn't the outcome he had hoped for. Out of nowhere, he asked, "What's your relationship with Hong Ying? And what's your relationship with Hong Ying anyway?" Qin Yin answered coolly, "Hong Ying provides, I handle the resources. She fights, I fund. Together, we keep Jiang and stable." Then she suddenly looked up with a smile. "Speak of the man turned around and nearly choked. Hong Ying was standing right behind him, dressed in nothing but a traditional silk. "To do?" He yelped and leapt onto the stone table. "What the?" Hong Ying crossed her arms and said calmly, "Relax. I just want to sleep with you, not eat you." Qin Yin chimed in with a smile. "She's gorgeous. What are you so uptight about?" That was the last straw. The man snapped. "Why the hell should I be okay with this? You think just because the world flipped, you get to flip the script and sit on me now? You want to keep me like a pet, like some kind of plaything? Keep dreaming, lady. What happens to me, I decide. And if anyone's doing the sleeping around here, it's me sleeping with you, not other way around." Hong Ying shrugged like it was no big deal. "What's the difference? Stop playing shop. Let's arm wrestle. Winner gets to sleep with the loser." The man roared, "I'd sleep with every woman in this manor before I even look at you. Dream on." He stormed off, dragging Xiao Yi with him. "Come on, we're catching dragon." That night, Hong Ying marched into the manor, a bottle of liquor in hand. She took a massive swig, her cheeks instantly flushing crimson. Then, without warning, she smashed the bottle on the floor. With a bang, she kicked open the man's bedroom door. "I swear tonight I will conquer you," she shouted. As she stormed toward him, he backed up fast, panic creeping into his eyes. He fumbled under the pillow, pulling out a tiny fruit knife in self-defense. But Hong Ying, commander of the Xian Corps, didn't flinch. She slapped him so hard, he flew backward onto the bed like a rag doll. Hong Ying pounced, pinning the man firmly to the bed. She was determined to prove her dominance physically. But the man wasn't about to just. He bit down hard on her ear, refusing to surrender, blood dripping from her ear. Hong Ying's expression darkened. "All right then, you asked for it." She rolled up her sleeves, and with no mercy, slapped him left and right, a full set of 18 face slaps in rapid-fire succession. The man was totally overwhelmed. Her combat power was unreal. He stood no chance and collapsed in defeat, with him limp and breathless. Hong Ying stripped him down without hesitation, claiming it would help fully analyze the fight's finer details. The wild bout left her panting, sweat trickling down her temple. Looking at the now naked man, something in her softened, just as she was about to offer him a rare moment of tenderness. He lunged forward and headbutted her square in the nose. But this was Hong Ying, Xian Corps commander. Not only was she strong, she was tough. The headbutt barely fazed her. Furious, she grabbed the man by the collar and growled, "Are you out of your damn mind?" Then, bam! She returned the favor with a skull-cracking blood sprayed. He was down, but Hong Ying still wasn't done. She punched him again and again right in the face. "What? I'm not good enough for you," she screamed. "You refuse me but would sleep with every chick in Jiangyan. You think you're some kind of emperor picking concubines. You're a tool, a commodity, a pet. You ain't no lord, and sure as hell not royalty." By the time she finished, the man was beaten to a pulp, bruised, bloodied, barely conscious. Even his one remaining strength had gone completely soft. Hong Ying stared at him, a flicker of regret flashing through her eyes. Maybe she went too far, but she didn't plan to let him off just yet. She called over a girl who'd been watching. "Give him the stamina pills." Through cracked lips, the man growled his last bit of defiance. F//coup. The girl tried to pour the blue pills into his mouth, but the man spat them all. Her face went pale. Oh no, he bit his tongue. Hong Ying froze. The shock sobered her up instantly. The last man alive, and he'd rather kill himself than be used. If he really died, there'd be nothing left to play with. After some frantic fumbling, Hong Ying and the girl finally stopped the man from biting off. Hong Ying snapped, "What the hell is wrong with you?" Just then, Qi Jin finally arrived, strolling in, only to be met with total chaos. Her face darkened. "Hong Ying, now, the enemy will reach the front line in 30 seconds. You need to get a Taijiao and prepare defenses immediately." But Hong Ying didn't even flinch. "I'll be done in a second," she said calmly, still hovering over the man. Qi Jin was fuming. "I said, get off." She turned to the girl beside her. "Zhao Can, take her out. Sober her up." Still, Hong Ying refused to move. "Just let me finish this. I'll go after her." That was the last straw. Qi Jin, usually all grace and patience, snapped. "Touch him again, and our alliance is over. If you touch him again, your Xiang Corps will lose everything. No more supplies, no more step out of Jiangnan, and you'll never cross Shuan River." Realizing Qi Jin wasn't bluffing, Hong Ying finally stepped off the bed, though clearly pissed. She walked up to Qi Jin and muttered, "What the hell is your problem? He's the last man on Earth. You don't want to use him. What? Planning to keep him as some kind of mascot?" Qi Jin's tone softened. "Hong Ying, he's a person, not a toy." But Hong Ying cut her off and walked out, tossing over her shoulder, "Whatever. He's not even functional right now. Keep him if you want." Then she called out, "Zhao Can, stay here and keep an eye on him." After everyone left, the man sat alone by the lake. Everything he'd gone through had drained him physically and mentally. Qi Jin and Xiao Yi eventually approached. Qi Jin asked, "Tongue didn't work." "What now? Planning to drown yourself?" The man gave a weak chuckle. "I thought a world ruled by women would be gentle. Turns out it's not about gender. It's about power." He looked up at her. "So what's your plan for—" Qi Jin sat beside him and said calmly, "Pull yourself together. Don't you still want to make it to Northmere?" The man smirked, eyes still down. "Spare me the good cop, bad cop routine. You never intended to let me go. Qi Jin, on the contrary, I want you gone as soon as possible. You're not as valuable as you think. Keeping you here will only bring disaster to Jiangnan." The man looked up stunned, his face bruised and swollen like a punching bag. "Wait, don't you want the he asked. Qi Jin replied without hesitation, "I do." Her blunt honesty left even Xiao Yi wide-eyed. The man stared at this elegant, determined woman, remembering how she protected him, sheltered him, and even stood up to Hong Ying for his sake. All of it had stirred something in his heart. Something tender. Something dangerous. He whispered, "Qi Jin." Then, with swollen lips, he leaned in to kiss her cheek. But Qi Jin suddenly stood up, her voice icy. "I want a man. But you? You're not one." His face fell. "What did you just say?" Qi Jin looked down at him and said firmly, "The men I remember don't crumble in his self-pity the second things go south." The man pointed to his swollen, bruised face. "Self-pity? You think I beg for this? I have survived in a world crawling with monsters, completely powerless. And you're calling that a little setback? Are you serious? Jin didn't acknowledge his outburst. She simply said, I thought I'd found the last man on Earth. But all I see is a kid on his first trip away. The man didn't argue. He just sighed, stood up, and turned to leave. As he walked, he muttered, You're right. Without strength, I'm nothing. I'll just go back to Shikuan. Jin stared at his back, voice rising with frustration. Strength isn't all that makes grit. Reason, confidence, and willpower. That's what defines a real man. Her tone sharpened. You know you can't go back to Shikuan. Your future is chaos. You'll never have peace. And the only weapon you have, the only one that's truly yours, is what no one else in this world has left, a man's will. Without turning around, the man muttered, That's not a man you're describing. That's a superhero. Jin's voice rang out, firm and unyielding. And being the only one means you must surpass. If there's only one man left, then yes, he has to become a superhero. The man stopped walking. Jin went on. You asked me, why did women change? Why are you the only man? Why haven't you seen anyone in 3 years? I don't know, but you can find out for yourself, and for all of us. If the answer's not here, go to North America. If it's not there, go to Europe, Africa, anywhere. Just keep going until you find it. But the man still looked like a deflated balloon. Slumped, he turned and muttered, You make it sound wise, but honestly, what's going to be different out there? Jin snapped, shouting, You're not running away from death. North America won't have pacifiers or palaces or peace and quiet. It'll be chaos, fear, and the unknown. But you can't run, you have to face it. That's the only way you reclaim your strength and prove you're a man. As long as you stay in this courtyard, you're nothing. No strength, no freedom. Got it? The man went quiet. He seemed thoughtful, or maybe just numb. Then, without a word, he stepped onto the edge. Splash! He dove straight into the lake. But he wasn't giving up. That leap was a turning point. Jin's words had finally sparked something in him. He had made his decision. He would search for the truth of this broken world. Before leaving, he tried to entrust Yi to Jin, hoping she could look after her like a real little sister. But Yi shook her head firmly. She refused to stay behind. In this shattered world, they were no longer just companions. They were all each other had. At dawn the next day, Jin personally escorted the man and Yi to the gates of Jiangnan Manor. But just outside, they were blocked. Hong Ying's armed guards were already waiting, weapons drawn, refusing to let them pass. Jin narrowed her eyes. Step aside. The women hesitated. Though they feared Jin, their orders were clear. No one leaves. Without another word, Jin launched a brutal roundhouse kick. Crack. One of the guards flew backward like a rag doll. She slammed into a nearby car, shattering the windshield. Everyone froze in shock. Jin shouted, voice like thunder, I'm escorting them myself. Let's see who dares stop me. With that, she marched forward. Wherever she walked, the women of Xiangtuan parted like waves. Meanwhile, just outside the city, Hong Ying had lined up her convoy of battle trucks in perfect formation. In the distance, a separate column of vehicles roared forward, heading straight toward them. Atop a massive tank in the center stood a fearsome woman. It was none other than Zhang Mina, the ruthless Northern Army commander who wanted the man for herself. Her convoy thundered across the plains, rivaling even Xiangtuan in might. Tension crackled in the air as the two factions faced off, the showdown inevitable. Then Hong Ying's lieutenant grabbed the walkie-talkie and spoke one word. Go! Instantly, a red semi-truck on the left roared to life, tires screeching, dragging a massive steel cable behind it, charging straight into chaos. At that exact moment, a green truck on the right also roared to life, tires screeching as it shot forward, steel cable dragging behind just like the red one. Hidden beneath the tall grass, the thick cable between the two trucks suddenly snapped taut, stretched like a deadly tripwire. The Northern Army convoy, barreling forward at full speed, had no time to react. One after another, their vehicles slammed into the cable. Tires burst, windshields shattered, and bodies were thrown like rag dolls. Chaos erupted instantly. Before a single shot was fired, the Northern Army had already taken heavy losses. Smoke billowed into the sky. Cries of pain echoed all around. Jean Minna raised both hands, signaling her convoy to stop. Standing atop her vehicle, she didn't even glance at the wounded. Instead, she shouted, "Hong Ying? Have you?" Hong Ying didn't entertain the provocation. Her voice was sharp. "Are you breaking the ceasefire?" Jean Minna smirked and replied mockingly, "Look at that sultry outfit. You are definitely out hunting men." Hong Ying's expression darkened. "If you want a war, fine. Let's settle it. Don't forget, once Qin Yan brings in the Southern League, you won't hold Jiangnan for a single day." Jean Minna rolled her eyes. "I've got one thing on my mind. I don't care about treaties or leagues. Don't bore me." At this, Hong Ying clenched her fists. Already frustrated from last night's disaster, she snapped, "I haven't seen your damn man." Hong Ying's voice turned ice cold. "But if you dare cross the Song River, I'll kill every last person who looks like a man." Jean Minna just smirked. Southern girls sure are a handful. Meanwhile, Chai Nian was personally driving the man and Shawai toward Shanghai. The streets were clean and orderly, with elegantly dressed women strolling about. As if the apocalypse had never touched this place. Shawai looked out the window, her voice tinged with longing. "This is my hometown. Can I go back to see it again, even if no one's waiting for me?" Qin Yan nodded gently. "Of course, just don't let it break your heart." The world's not the same anymore. Just then, the man narrowed his eyes, spotting something strange down an alley. A group of women were surrounding someone, hands wandering, voices teasing. The person slumped on the ground, barely conscious, clearly unable to resist. But what struck the man was the buzz haircut and the stubble on that face. That wasn't just anyone. That was a man. "Wait, I thought I was the last man on Earth. Who the hell is that?" The man shouted, "Stop the car." "Qin Yan, look! That's Those two women are harassing a man." Both Qin Yan and Shawai turned to look. Now you turned to look down the alley. But they had already driven past. It was too late to see anything from their angle. The man unbuckled his seatbelt, ready to leap out. "Don't go," Qin Yan warned sharply. "This isn't something you can fix." "We have to," he snapped. "He's one of us." "It's too dangerous," Qin Yan replied. "And this city's been— there shouldn't be any men left." But the man didn't listen. "I'll get a weapon from the back seat. Then I'll see for my—" He sprinted back to the alley, only to see a dazed mustache man being yanked by the arm. One of the women sneered. "Can't even last one night, and you call yourself a man?" The mustached guy weakly flailed his arms, but his resistance was barely there. "Let him go," the man shouted, raising his gun. The woman turned to him, her face lighting up in delight. "Oh, this one's even hotter." Her friend giggled seductively. That voice. God." Seeing the women unfazed, the man cocked his weapon with a loud clack, a clear warning. The moment they realized he wasn't bluffing, their playful smirks vanished. Just then, two intense beams of headlights lit up the alley, blinding them momentarily. Qin Yan had pulled the car right beside the man, the siren on the roof still flashing. As the women squinted through the light and spotted the license plate, their expressions froze. "She's from the government," one of them muttered under her breath. Knowing they weren't over their heads, the two backed off, letting go of mustache guy with a miffed buzzkill. Xiaoyi stepped out of the car, and the man lowered his weapon as the tension eased. Walking closer under the headlights, he stared intently at mustache guy, who was staring right back, just as wary. As the man's eyes scanned mustache's flat stomach and slightly raised chest, a terrible realization struck. He reached out and tugged at mustache's face. Sure enough, the fake mustache came right off with a gentle pull. His heart sank. Qin Yan was right all along. There really weren't any other men here. But then, mustache's gaze caught the necklace hanging from the man's neck. The very same one Bai Gang had given him, the symbol of the men's resistance. Mustache's eyes went wide. "Wait, you're—" Bang! A deafening crash cut her off. Qin Yan's car had just been slammed by a speeding vehicle. Qin Yan's car windows shattered instantly. The violent impact slammed her into the airbags, blood trickling from her forehead. The other car's front end was mangled, thick smoke pouring out, airbags deployed. But inside the wreckage, not a scratch. It was Nadja, smirking devilishly. She whispered, "You were a hard man to find." Somehow, she had escaped Hong Ying and tracked them all the way here. Qin Yan's eyes widened. She shouted at the man, "Run. Leave this to me." His heart sank. This woman was relentless. Nadja leapt into another car nearby and barked at her driver, "Go after them." Without another word, the man grabbed Xiao Yi's hand and bolted. "We're out of here." Just outside the alley, they spotted an old bicycle leaning by the wall. No time to think. He lifted Xiao Yi into the front basket and pedaled with everything he had. But behind them, Nadja's henchwoman burst out of the alley, sprinting with terrifying speed, like a predator locked onto its prey. The man knocked over every table and chair he could find along the road, hoping to slow them down, but it only delayed them for a moment. They were gaining it. That's when Xiao Yi spotted the handgun tucked at his waist. Without hesitation, she grabbed it and flipped the safety with practiced ease. The man was stunned. When had she learned to? Xiao Yi raised the weapon, aiming at the pursuers closing in. But her hands were shaking, her finger frozen on the trigger. As the enemy got closer, she bit her lip, squeezed her eyes shut, and pulled it. The shot rang out but missed. The bullet whizzed past harmlessly. The gun slipped from her hands and hit the pavement. Overwhelmed, she fainted and fell forward. The man reached out and caught her by the back of her shirt just in time. With one hand gripping her and the other pedaling like mad, he raced on, not daring to look back. As he reached a busy intersection, the man suddenly shouted, "Spies from the Northern Army." Just as he hoped, the crowd immediately turned hostile, their eyes narrowing at the approaching pursuers. The agents were forced to slow down, wary of being mobbed by the surrounding women. Taking the chance, the man ducked into a narrow alley. But the pursuers weren't amateurs. They studied the scene for a moment, then split off to flank him from the other. Glancing back and finding no one behind, the man felt a chill rise in his chest. He stared down the road ahead. There was a good chance they were circling around. As he neared the intersection, his body tensed, ready for a sudden clash. Just then, a door on the roadside flung open. A voice called out, "In here quick!" It was none other than the fake, bearded man he had just rescued. Wasting no time, he grabbed Xiao Yi and darted through the door. Moments later, the pursuers arrived, scanning the streets with narrowed eyes. But the man had vanished. When she looked up at the sign above the door, her face froze. There it was, carved into the weathered Brotherhood of Men, Zhongnan branch. A jolt of unease shot through her heart.